We found it in the silence between worlds, a dead star's final whisper. Not a sound, but a flicker in the void, a pattern in the fading light. Most ships would miss it entirely. They would see only a cold, forgotten cinder. But we were different. We were hunters of echoes, scavengers of lost light. Our sensors caught the ghost, a signal repeating over millennia. It was impossibly old and deliberate. Someone had etched a message into a star's last breath. They had carved it into the very fabric of decay. We spent a generation decoding the flicker. We watched the ghost dance in our viewports. It was a map, a ragged, beautiful map drawn in starlight. It promised a treasure beyond imagining, a prize left behind by a forgotten age. For a people who lived on scraps, it was a call to prayer. The map was a dangerous hope, a beautiful, terrifying promise. It pointed to a place outside known space, a place the old charts called the Great Empty. But we were a people of empty places. We wore ragged maps and called them treasure. Our fleet was not built for glory. It was a collection of forgotten things. We had haulers with scarred metal hides, miners still caked in asteroid dust. We even had a few old patrol cutters. Their weapons had been cold for 100 years. Each ship was a relic, a story of survival. They were ships of rust and dreams. We gave them a new purpose. We welded and patched and prayed. We pulled engines from one wreck to power another. Our flagship was the Stargazer, a long-range scanner ship with more heart than armor. We gave the fleet a bold name, the Inheritance. We were claiming a future we had been denied. It sounded better than the ragtag armada. Our crews were the children of scavengers. We knew how to make broken things work. We understood the language of stressed metal. We knew the rhythm of a failing life support system. We were not soldiers or explorers. We were mechanics and dreamers. And we were about to follow a ghost into the dark. We believed in the promise of a dead star. The first jump was an act of faith. The drives whined a chorus of protest. They were old and not meant for this, not for a leap into total blackness. The navigator traced the lines of the ghost map. Her fingers danced over the light. The coordinates were an answer to a prayer we had not known we were making. Then the universe folded around us. We followed the map into the silent unknown. The stars we knew vanished in an instant. The familiar constellations were gone. We were somewhere else, a place that felt colder, deeper. The old star lanes had long gone cold here. No one had traveled this way in an eternity. The silence pressed in on the hulls. It was a heavy, ancient quiet. Our ships, our little fleet of hope, felt small. They felt fragile against the immense emptiness. We were 100 ships alone in the dark, 100 flickering candles in a void. We checked our systems. Everything was screaming at us in a dozen different ways. But we were holding together. For now. We drifted for what felt like an age. Then something appeared on our sensors. It was not a star or a planet. It was a structure of impossible size. A vast machine guarded the broken path. It was a sentinel made of dark metal. It filled the viewport of the Stargazer, a geometric titan sleeping in the void. It did not hail us. It did not power weapons. It simply watched. Its surface was a complex lattice of lines. Lights pulsed deep within its core. They moved with a slow, deliberate rhythm. The machine was ancient beyond reckoning. It was part of the old path, a gatekeeper. It tested our courage with silent judgment. Our captain gave the order to hold position. We waited for a challenge, a demand, but none came. The sentinel scanned our ships one by one. It peered into our rusty hulls. It seemed to look into our very hearts. It was not looking for strength. It was looking for something else. A reason. A purpose. After a long, tense hour, a path opened. A channel of clear space through its structure. The sentinel had let us pass. We had been weighed and not found wanting. Beyond the sentinel lay the graveyard. We drifted through graveyards of ancient fleets. The scale of it was staggering. Thousands of ships, shattered and broken. They were vessels of a design we had never seen. Sleek, powerful warships. Now just silent tombs. They floated in a silent, endless ballet of destruction. Their warnings were written in shattered hulls. Some ships were peeled open like fruit. Others were pierced by colossal weapons. We saw energy scars that defied our physics. This was the result of a war fought on a godlike scale. We were flying through the tombstone of an empire that had followed this same map. A cold fear settled over the fleet. What treasure could be worth this price? We were a fleet of scavengers in a graveyard of titans. The whispers started then. Maybe we should turn back. Maybe this treasure was a trap. But we had come too far. We had bet everything on this ghost signal. To turn back now was to die slowly. To go forward was to face the fire. They appeared without a ripple in space. One moment, the graveyard was empty. The next, they were there. They came in vessels of perfect geometry, cubes and spheres of polished black material. Their ships absorbed all light. They were holes in the starfield. They moved with an impossible grace. The elder ones had arrived. A voice entered our minds, not through the comms, but directly. It was cold, clear, and sharp as glass. You are trespassers. This path is forbidden. The voice came from the lead ship, a perfect sphere. It was a vessel of immense power. Our own ships felt like toys beside it. They were the reason for the graveyard. The map you follow is a heresy, the voice continued. It leads to a place of contagion, a place of cosmic sin. Turn back now or be sterilized. They told us our map was a heresy, a forbidden knowledge that must be erased. We saw their weapon ports open. Lines of pure energy glowed within them. They were not negotiating. They were passing judgment. Our captain responded over the open comm. Her voice did not shake. We seek a future, not a fight. The elder ones did not seem to hear. Your future is irrelevant. The sanctity of the great silence is all. They believed the void was sacred. Our journey, our noisy, hopeful journey, was a desecration. We had a choice. Flee and be hunted, or push on toward the map's final point. The captain chose to push on. She sent the coordinates to the fleet, the final jump. The elder ones did not expect it. Their logic predicted we would surrender or run. They did not understand desperation. They did not understand hope. Our drive screamed as we jumped. We left them behind in the graveyard. We arrived at the source of the ghost signal. It was not a planet. It was not a star. It was a cage, a colossal structure built around a collapsed sun. The map did not lead to riches. It led to the grave of a godlike being. It was a treasure called a tomb. The structure was breathtaking. It was a Dyson sphere made of shimmering golden metal. But it was built to contain something, not to harness its power. The ghost signal pulsed from its core, a final, fading heartbeat. We drifted closer, our sensors trying to make sense of it all. This was the source of the legend, the prize at the end of the map. Then the whispers from the tomb began. They were not like the cold voice of the elder ones. This voice was warm and full of sorrow. It brushed against our minds like a gentle tide. So long. I have been alone for so long. The dead god spoke to us in our minds. It was a consciousness of unimaginable scale, trapped within this golden cage. It told us its story in flashes of thought. It was a being of pure creation. The Elder Ones were its jailers. They feared its power, its ability to change the universe. They had built this prison to silence it forever. It offered us a deal, a simple exchange. It offered power in exchange for release. Enough power to unmake the Elder Ones. Enough power to build a new world. The offer hung in the silence of our bridge. The power to save ourselves. The power to have the future we dreamed of. All we had to do was open the cage. We had to break one of the golden seals. The creature projected the knowledge into our minds. We saw how to do it. It would be simple. A single well-placed energy burst. The Elder One's fleet appeared behind us. They had followed us through the jump. Their perfect ships formed a closing net. Their cold voice returned. You have reached the ultimate heresy. You will be erased with it. We had to choose between two terrible fates: annihilation by the Elder Ones, or servitude to a caged god. We debated for only a moment. We looked at our rusty ships. We looked at the faces on the bridge. We were scavengers and dreamers. We had come this far on our own terms. We would not become someone else's weapon. We chose the one that was our own. We chose the human way. A third option: defiance. All ships, our captain's voice rang through the fleet. Prepare for battle. We are not their judges. We are not its saviors. We are the inheritance, and we will make our own way. Her words were a spark in the darkness. Hope, raw and beautiful, flared across our fleet. We would fight. We would survive. Or we would die as free people. We turned our scavenger ships into weapons. Every bolt and wire hummed with defiance. We rerouted power from our life support to our mining lasers. We repurposed asteroid tractors into grappling hooks. We took the junk we had collected for generations, and we turned it into instruments of war. We were not a fleet of warships. We were 100 angry solutions to a single problem. Our chief engineer found something in the ship's databanks, a forgotten piece of our own history, a tactical program for swarm maneuvers, designed for mining drone swarms in dense asteroid fields. It was chaotic, it was inefficient, it was perfect. We loaded it into our navigation systems. It was time to show the universe the beauty of organized chaos. The Elder Ones moved against us. The geometry of battle was on their side. Their ships advanced in perfect crystalline formations. They moved like a single, thinking machine. Their cold precision was terrifying. They fired their weapons in perfect volleys. Beams of pure, white energy cut through the void. They expected us to break, to scatter in fear. We did not break. We charged. We answered with beautiful, chaotic fire. Our mining lasers were not powerful, but there were hundreds of them, firing at random intervals from unpredictable angles. Our patrol cutters zipped between their massive ships. We were a swarm of angry insects attacking a titan. We were an equation they could not solve. One of our haulers, the Lucky Break, did something brilliant. It jettisoned its cargo of metallic dust directly in front of their lead ship. The dust cloud scattered their energy beams. It blinded their perfect sensors. For a moment, the perfect machine was blind. It was a move born of desperation and genius. It was a move they could never have predicted. It was wonderfully, beautifully human. Our imperfect tactics baffled their logic. We were not fighting a war they understood. They expected formations. We gave them a riot. They expected strategy. We gave them instinct. We were shattering their perfect lines. A small transport ship, its engines glowing red, made a suicide run. It slammed into the side of an Elder One's cruiser. The explosion was small, but it took out the cruiser's shield generator. They could not predict the human heart. They could not account for our willingness to sacrifice. They saw us as a contagion, a chaotic variable in their ordered universe. And they were right. We swarmed their ships, our grappling hooks latched onto their smooth hulls. We were fleas on the back of a god. But even a god can be annoyed by fleas. The Elder Ones began to falter. Their perfect formations broke. They tried to adapt, but their logic was too rigid. They could not comprehend our beautiful mess. Their cold voice echoed in our minds again. But this time, there was a new tone, a flicker of something we had not heard before. Confusion, maybe even a hint of fear. While the fleet kept them busy, the Stargazer made its run. We flew toward the golden tomb, not to the seal the god had shown us, but to the tomb's primary power regulator. It was a point of immense energy, a place where the prison's mechanisms all came together. We were not going to open the cage. We were going to break it. The Elder One saw our plan too late. They tried to stop us, but our little fleet of rust buckets threw themselves in the way. They formed a moving wall of defiance. They bought us the time we needed. We reached the core of the star tomb. We fired our main mining laser into the regulator. It was a pinprick against a mountain, but it was enough. The golden sphere began to resonate. A deep hum vibrated through our ship. The caged god screamed in our minds, a sound of both terror and gratitude. We had not freed it. We had triggered the prison's final failsafe. A controlled collapse. The god's final breath was not a curse. It was a wave of creation. Pure, untamed energy erupted from the core. The golden light expanded outward. It washed over the battlefield. It did not destroy. It transformed. The ships of the Elder Ones were caught in the wave. Their perfect geometry dissolved. They were unmade, returned to dust and energy. Our own ships were touched by it as well. The rust on our hulls shimmered and was gone. Our old engines hummed with new life. A sun was born from the ancient dust. Where the golden tomb had been, there was now a star, a young, vibrant yellow sun. It bathed the graveyard of ships in a warm, gentle light. It was a beacon of our victory, a testament to our choice. We had faced two impossible powers, and we had chosen ourselves. We watched in silent awe. We had witnessed a birth, the birth of a star, the final gift of a being that had only wanted to create. The Elder Ones had feared its power. They had tried to lock it away. But creation cannot be caged forever. It will always find a way. We saw a new planet forming in the dust, a new world waiting for us. Our fleet gathered in the light of the new star. We were battered and bruised. We had lost ships. We had lost friends. But we had won. We had won more than a battle. We had won a future. The ragged map that had led us here was finally put away. Its purpose was served. It had led us not to a treasure of gold, but to a treasure of hope. The inheritance fleet turned toward the new planet. Its surface was still cooling, but it was ours. A world born from our courage. A place to build a new home. We now draw our own path across the sky. We are no longer scavengers of the past. We are the architects of the future. We still have our rusty ships, but now they are ships of legend. And we have a new story to tell, a story written in starlight,